Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Before we jump into Tefillot this morning, I want to say there are at least two reasons that I pray. The first is to reach out to God to ask for help with those troubles that we have in our lives. And of course, there are many. Between COVID, here in Los Angeles, there's smoke outside and there's literally fires around the state, around this coast. There's enough to pray to God for help. But there's also another reason, which is to thank God for the blessings that we have in our life. And the point of prayer is to get closer to God and closer to each other. And if we only focus on those things that we need help with, the things that we have to pray for, then we actually lose that opportunity to come closer to God, because we have to also recognize the blessings in the world, and we have to recognize the goodness too, or else we only are doing half of the job in prayer. Which is why we begin every morning with words of gratitude, and we begin every morning with words of goodness. We say, Ma tovu ohalech Yaakov, how beautiful are your tents, and we thank God for the little things in life, which are really big things, our houses, our families. And so we begin today with the words of Ma tovu, how beautiful are your tents, O Jacob. And Cantor, good morning. It's so nice to see you in the synagogue. It's a reminder of the beauty of our building and all of the wonderfulness that space.
Out into an empty room, which is sad, but I know that all of you are out there with us virtually and spiritually.
Ma tovu, page 101.
Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say Boker Tov and Shabbat Shalom to Ariel Cohen, our organist. It's such a pleasure to hear you and the Cantor make excellent, beautiful music today. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everybody joining us on the chat, to Marvin Epstein, to Nathan, Julia, and Alphonse from France. Welcome, Boker Tov. To Judith, to Carol, and to Mickey Adam Cohen, who's here with us for the first time. Please say hi on Facebook or YouTube so we can say hi to you too. We continue to recognize the blessings in our world. We say, Eloheinu Shema Birkot HaShachar. Thank you for the soul inside of me, and thank you for all of these blessings, for making me free, for giving me clothes, for giving me the strength to take a step in the morning, for giving me the strength to open my eyes. Eloheinu Shema Birkot HaShachar, we're on page 103.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sech v'binan ha'chini gam uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani b'tomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rakar talamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amechim et tzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten yahev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amavir shnei ma'enai unama me'afapai.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi.
Unenu hayom uchol yom lechenu hesed rachamim beinecha v'nei korenu tigmelinu chasadim tovim baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael.
Amen.
We'll invite all those who are in a period of mourning to rise. We'll turn to page 121 for Kaddish Atom, page 121. Yitz Gadal v'yitz Kadash Shmei Rabba. Ve'yoma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvisman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulamei amayah. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnasei ve'yithadar ve'yithaleh ve'yithalal Shmei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushvechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom biromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Turn to page 134 for the Psalm of the day. We'll sing Tzadik Katamar, where the red arrow starts on page 134.
Tzadik katamar yifrach kerez balvanon yizge shetunim beveit Adonai dechatzorot Eloheinu yavrichu od yenuvune beseva desheinim verananim yiyu lehagid hi ashar Adonai suri Elohav
141, we sing Psalm 150, which says, praise God with instruments, because sometimes words fail us in our ability to express ourselves. And so we say sometimes music is best. Page 141, Psalm 150.
Rabbi, you're muted.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody joining us on the chat, to Bonnie Lubo, to Jenny de Chavez, to Bajanetta, to Tanya, to Stowski Shamtuv, to Judy Hoffman, Shabbat Shalom, to Howard Lazarus, to Sherry Fox, and Rochelle Marcus. We are so, so glad that you're here with us and you said hello, so we can say Shabbat Shalom to you too. We'll continue with our Shacharit service with Shochen Ad, page 147.
I was greeting our wonderful Rabbi Wolpe, who came by to say hi. He's going to be by in a little bit.
Excellent.
Shochen Ad Maron v'kadosh shemo Befi Esharim Titalal Uvdivrei Tzadikim Titbarach Uvirshon Chasidim Titromam Uvekerev Keroshim Titkadash Uvemachalot Rivevot Amcha Beit Yisrael להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפעל, לרומם, לעדל, לברך, לעלה עולה, קלי, שר כל דברי, שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדוני נפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי העולמים.
Chatzi Kaddish, page 148, please rise.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בחדיברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. ישמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו להילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בהלמה והימרו אמן.
Article page 149.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Parechu et Adonai, Amevorach, Baruch Adonai. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
You may be seated. We continue on page 150.
אין כערכך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס פילתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים.
Eladon, page 151.
אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם, דת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתקאה על חיות הקודש, ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישון לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו, טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים באימה רצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, תהילה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש. להן אשר שבר מכל המעשים, ביום השביעי התעלה בשבע כיסא כבודו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. תתברך משה אלוה שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע.
Page 153.
תתברך. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים באימה וביראה רצון קונם. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה בתורה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש לתורה מנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה מלמה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים, ואומרים ביראה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית כאמור, לעושה אורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון, על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Page 154, we gather at tzitzit in preparation for the Shema. Shabbat Shalom to Larry Ratchlin, to Danielle Garcia Rodriguez from Tijuana, to Marvin Epstein, to Suzette Cassandra Orman from Aruba. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We invite you again to gather your tzitzit in preparation for the Shema. Ahava Rabbah, page 154.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך גדול. סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר במו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue on our own the second and third paragraphs of the Shema on page 156.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 157.
לדור ודור הוא קיים שמו, קיים וכיסאו נכון, מלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. אמת שעתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מתננו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם. ממצרים קטן רם וניסה גדול. תהילות לעליון ברוך ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלך. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו והנו. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלך. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלך, אוסף אלך, אוסף אלך. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחין אומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני God Israel.
We continue with the Shacharit Amidah. Please rise. We're together on page 159.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר וחוקר מושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני בחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד לחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני אחר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Page 161.
נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יומנו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון תתקדש ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים ועינינו תראנה תראנה מלכותך כדבר המות בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודל לך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודל לך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודל לך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודל לך כי אל מלך גדול גדול וקדוש גדול וקדוש אתה יאללה 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 ברוך אתה אדוני האל הכל
We continue on our own through the end of the Amidah, through page 166. You can take this time for your own personal prayers to follow along in the words of the Siddur or the words of your heart. We'll take a few moments for private prayer and reflection. Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's joined us on the chat. There was somebody who said Shabbat Shalom from Miami Beach, though if you could write your name again, that would be great. To Shana, Yaf, and Nash, who said that you love this music. Well, we love that you're here with us today. To Sophia Bagamer, Shabbat Shalom. To Jenny De Chavez, to Bajaneta, we're so glad you're here with us today. Our service continues with Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה קירותי במליך מלכותי בחיי חון ובמכון ובחייך בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב והימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתלש מלכותשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם ימה והימרו אמן תתקבע צלותו נברכו כל ישראל קודם בואו וישמעיה והימרו אמן יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו Amen.
We begin our Torah service together on page 168.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai meroch leolam eved, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Aaron vayomer Moshe Kulma Adonai veyachutzu oyevecha veyanusu mesanecha mipanecha ki mitzion teitzei Torah ki mitzion teitzei Torah udevar Adonai mirushalayim baruch shenatan Torah Torah baruch shenatan Torah Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Ribono Shel Olam, we read the words in your Torah this week, Lo Bashamayim He, that the Torah is not in heaven. Rather, the Torah is closer than we think. It's in our mouths and it's in our hearts. During these days when we are at home, the Torah truly is closer than we think. Our services are in our homes. Our Torah reading we hear in our own four walls. Ribono Shel Olam, help us to open our hearts to you, to finding your Torah in our own homes, in our own hearts during these days when we're spending more time with ourselves and in our own homes than ever before. Thank you for the gift of community, and may it uplift us even when we are far away from our friends, from our family, even when we're far from our synagogue. It's not in heaven. Rather, help us to find the Torah in our own hearts.
Velish me Kaddish yakira anahemar tush bechan beyanarachet Velish me Kaddish yakira anahemar tush bechan Yerava kodamach v'tiftachni bi be'oraita v'tashni mishalin delibi v'liba dechol amach Yisrael letav lechayin v'lishlam Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adoneinu Kadosh Shemo. Hallelujah Raiti Oreramema Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hageluna V'Hagemura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hahod Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai Hamamlacha Ve'amid na'aseh lechol lerosh V'rommemu Adonai Eloheinu, Vishtachavu Ladom Raglav Kadosh Hu, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu Le'ad Kodsho, Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated if you are not already sitting. Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's joining us on the chat. To Joseph Gabayan, Shabbat Shalom. To Marvin Epstein from Brazil and your mom Beatrice Epstein. To Lilia Babalavi, Shabbat Shalom. If you haven't said hello already, please do. We'll begin our Torah reading this week. We're in Parshat Nitzavim Vayelech. We're on page 1. If you're following along in your Eitz Chaim Chumash, we are on page 1165, which is Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 9. For our first Aliyah, I will call the Gershbach family for the Aliyah, and Jacob Gershbach, who will read. Ya'amod Rishon. Boker Tov, Faith. Boker Tov, Jacob.
Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, menatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, roshechem shitechem, ziknechem neshot chovotechem, kol ish Yisrael, tapchem neshechem v'gerecha asher b'kerev matanecha, mechot beitzecha ad shoed mimecha, le'avrecha b'brit Adonai Elohecha le'olato, asher Adonai Elohecha koret imecha hayom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei haolam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And Faith, we asked you to have an Aliyah today just to thank you for all of your hard work in making our high holiday kits for our members, staying there for hours and packing bags, so that way all of our Sinai Temple members can have a machzor and can have a few items to help them celebrate the holidays. So thank you so much for all the time you put in to packing those
My
bags.
pleasure, and I'm looking forward to people coming for the Tikkun Chapel next week. Make their reservations.
Yes, get those reservations in to have a few minutes before the Torah. And Jacob, will you stay on to read our second Aliyah?
Absolutely.
Okay. For our second Aliyah, we'll invite the Poratian family to turn on their camera and their microphone. Shabbat Shalom, Talia. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Okay, our second Aliyah is on page 1165. It's chapter 29, verse 12. Okay, you can say the blessings before the Torah reading now, if you're ready.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay, Jacob.
Amen. Leman hatimotcha hayom lo le'am. Vehu melecha Elohim kasher tiberach וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק, ליעקב, ולא איתכם לבדכם, אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת העולם הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו עמנו היום.
Okay, Talia, I know you're doing the bracha by heart. Though if you say that one again, then that will be correct. You said it right. So this is Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet. Would you like to try it again?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan d'shechina baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Excellent. Oh, Talia, that was great. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing those blessings by heart.
You're welcome.
And also, I wanted to thank you and your family for helping us pack the high holiday kits that we gave out to our members. Thank you for the time you put in, for coming in, late on that Friday, and for helping us finish out that project. So thank you very much. Thank you for all of the time that you've given to the synagogue, to helping with the religious school, to helping with the teen center, more than I can even thank you for. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Okay, for our third Aliyah, I'll invite all of our teen center, our teen leadership council members to turn on their videos and unmute their microphones. Let's see if you are still there. Aaron, Davina, Zev, Isla, and Talia, I see that you're here, though I'm afraid you might have stepped away from the computer. Well, I hope you come back. For our third Aliyah, we have a few representatives from our Teen Leadership Council. We just started a new year, a new council. Aaron, our vice president, will talk a little bit more about that after our Aliyah. So I know it's going to sound a little cacophonous, but I'm going to invite all of you to turn on your mics and let's try and say the blessing together. I know it'll sound, again, like very busy, but I think you can do it. Go for it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Baruch Hu. Baruch
Adonai
Adonai Varach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And Jay Harwood will read our third Aliyah, page 1166.
Amen. Ki atem yidatem et asher yashavnu be'eretz Mitzrayim v'yed asher avarnu bekerev hagoyim asher avartem v'tiru et shikutzehem ve'et gilulehem eitz va'even kesef v'zahav asher imahem pen yesh bachem ish o isha o mishpacha o shevet asher levavo poneh hayom me'im Adonai Eloheinu lalechet la'avod et Elohei hagoyim hahem pen yesh bachem shoresh poneh rosh lo la'ana v'haya v'shamot v'divrei ha'ala hazot Yitparech bilvavo lemor shalom yiheli ki b'shvirut libi elech leman shpot haravat et hatzme'ah Lo Yove Adonai, Shalach Lo Kiyash Yeshana Adonai Vikinato, Ba'ishahu, Berav Tavo, Kol Ha'ala, Haktuva, B'Sefer Hazeh, Umacha Adonai et Shemo, Mitachat Hashamayim, Ivdilo Adonai L'Ra'ah, Mikol Shivtei Yisrael, Pechol Alot Habrit, Haktuva, B'Sefer HaTorah Hazeh. Ve'amar hador ha'acharon b'neichem asher yakumu me'acharechem v'hanochri asher yavo me'eretz rechoka v'ra'u et makot ha'aretz ha'hui ve'etach aloeha asher chala Adonai ba gafrit pamela shrefa kol arza lo tizra v'lo tatzmiach Yaleva ko Eshev Kamapechat Sodom v'Amorah Odma Utzvoyim Asher Hafach Adonai Ba'apo v'Chamato V'Amru Kol Agoyim Al Me'asa Adonai Kacha La'aretz Hazot Ma Chori Ha'af Hagadol Hazeh V'Yamaru Al Asher Azvu Et Berit Adonai Elohei Avotam Asher Karat Lahem Imam Hotzi Oto Me'eretz Mitzrayim Vayelechu Yavdu Elohim Acherim Vayishtachavu Lahem Elohim Asher Lo Yida'um Lo Chalak Lahem Vayichar Af Adonai Ba'aretz Hahi Navi Aleha Et Kol HaKlala Haktuva B'Sefer Hazeh Vayitchem Adonai Me'al Admatam Ba'af V'chema V'ketzef Gadol Vayashlichem el eretz acheret kayom hazeh hanistarot ladonai Eloheinu v'haniglot lahanu olanenu ad olam la'asot et kol divrei haTorah hazot.
Okay, I'll invite all of our Team Leadership Council members to come back on for the blessing after the Torah. This is the one that's Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet. I'll say it with you if you need it, but let me, we'll say it starting now in 3, 2, 1.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tocheinu, baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Okay, so stay on for a second. Don't turn off your videos. I've invited you here just to give you, and on behalf of our whole Team Leadership Council, just a blessing for this coming year, that we should do good work despite the challenges that we have of being virtual, that we should have programming that's fun, that's engaging, and that is really meaningful to you all and to our whole team community. And just so we know who's here, Davina, who was here a second ago, is one of our social programming co-chairs. Talia is our social media chair. Zev is a Team Leadership Council member. Ayla is our social action chair. And Aaron Yamin is our Teen Center vice president. And I've asked him just to say a few words this morning.
Okay. Hi, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Aaron Yamin, and I'm vice president of the Sinai Teen Center this year. This is my 3rd year in the program, and something that really drove me to the program was in 9th grade when I went on the APAC trip with the group. This is where I learned that the Teen Center is such a great outlet to connect with Jewish teens in our community and dive deeper into our heritage. So this year, I'm really excited about our events, and I hope to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And we have a Teen Center program, 2 Teen Center virtual program opportunities for Rosh Hashanah at 11 o'clock on both days of Rosh Hashanah and also on Yom Kippur. For any of our members who teens are welcome to join at 11 o'clock then, and keep an eye out on the Sinai Temple website for more programming. Aaron, Ayla, Zev, and Talia, thank you so much for being here this morning. You're welcome to stick around or go and enjoy your Saturday. But Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Right.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. For our 4th Aliyah, we've invited the Kashfian family. So Kashfian family, I'll invite you to turn on your video. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Our blessing before the Torah, Jay will be reading our fourth Aliyah. We're on page 1169.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'na'ata lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'haya ki yavo alav kol hadvarim ha'ele habracha v'haklala asher natati lefanecha asher v'ata el levavecha b'chol hagoyim asher hidichacha Adonai Elohecha shama v'shavta Adonai Elohecha v'shamata b'kolo k'kol asher nochi mitzavcha hayom Ata umanecha b'kol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'shav Adonai Elohecha et shvuatcha v'richamecha v'shav v'kibetzcha mikol ha'amim asher hepitzecha Adonai Elohecha shama.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emes v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So we invited your family, Danny, first of all, because of all the help that you gave us in giving out our high holiday kits to all of our members. Thank you for being there this past Thursday and Friday for a few hours with the mask and the smoke running back and forth to cars, giving everybody kits to make their holidays special. And it's so wonderful to have your family here. You are all so valued in our community, and we just wanted to have an opportunity to say thank you and for being part of our community. So Shabbat Shalom, Cashman family.
Thank you so much.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. In a moment, we're going to have a Misheberach, a prayer for cholim, for those who are in need of healing. I'll invite you at this time, if you haven't already, to write in the chat of anybody who you are praying for healing of body or soul. Shabbat Shalom also to everybody who's joined us in the chat, to Soraya and Isaac Nazarian. Shabbat Shalom to John Tepper in Tucson, but in Boston this month. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, John. Shabbat Shalom to Regina, Claudia, and Maleta, and Majid. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So I'll invite you if you want to add names for our Misheberach after our next Aliyah. Cancer. We're almost there.
I heard you. I missed you. What can I say?
It's nice to have you back. And by the way, you're doing wonders with that green screen today.
It's so real today, isn't it? The technology is amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, it's not a green screen today. It's never okay. Sometimes it is. Okay, for the fifth Aliyah, we'll invite Sharona Rahmani to read. And Cancer, maybe you'll say the blessings before the Torah reading for this Aliyah. So we're going to say this Aliyah in honor of all of the firefighters, everybody who's working hard up and down this coast to fight these extraordinary fires. As our thanks, we just want to say thank you, and Cancer Feldman will honor them with an Aliyah this morning.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'nahatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Page 1169.
Amen. Im yeh nidachcha bikse hashamayim misham yikabetzecha Adonai Elohecha umisham yikachecha veheviacha Adonai Elohecha אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך וירשתה והיטיבך והרבך מאבותיך ומל אדוני אלוהיך את לבבך ואת לבב זרעך לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך למען חייך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We'll take a moment to say Misheberach for a prayer for holy for those who are ill. Misheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sahara Rivka Rechav Leah U'Yivarech Yirpet HaCholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimele Rachamim Alehem L'Hagizikam L'Rapotam Yishlach Lehem Meher Refuah Shema min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'toch Sha'ar HaCholim V'chazek Et Yedeha Skim Tzorcheihem Shabbat Him L'Zok Refuah Rov Alavo Hashtar Bagalav Izman Karev Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to Yaakov ben Agdas, to Colleen Diker, to Chaim David ben Eliyahu, Miriam, to Bracha Chana bat Sarah Rivka, to Chaim ben Kokab, to Isabella bat Razel Yosef, to Baruch Acharon ben Menachem Levi, to Leah bat Sarah, to Harold Waldman, to Yehudi bat Leah, to Simcha ben Yoshua, to Rachana Chaya, to Nachum ben Malka, Rachel Leah bat Chanakuna, Ava Kelman, Menashe ben Shajan Sarah, Michael ben Tova Eliyahu, Shoshana bat Chana Chaya v'Ariel, Yehudit bat Liba Tzfia, and Geula ben Elazar. And also to those who have written in our online, to Lavana bat Maria, to Yael bat Maria, to Ayala bat Maria and Yocheved bat Sarah, to Rachel Chaya Yafa bat Victoria Miriam, to Nadia ben Godsian, to Estella bat Antonia and Albert ben Mary, and Vadas, and to Michael ben Periel, to Ahuva Naomi bat Eti, Tamara bat Joan, Naomi Estolas, Alexander ben Emily, David Rachel bat Estella, Rashi Mahler, Yita Ruchel bat Sfia Leah, Devorah bat Malka, and Mauricio ben Lourdes. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them spiritual and physical well-being together with all others who are ill. And may God grant strength to those who tend them. We yet hope and pray that healing is at hand. And let us say, Amen. Our sixth Aliyah today, we're going to say in honor of all of the doctors and nurses who are putting their health on the line and their lives on the line to help keep us healthy. So the sixth Aliyah in their honor, Cantor will say the blessings. And Sharona, you good to read the sixth Aliyah too?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Baruch Adonai v'rach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai mevarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nahatan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ונתן אדוני אלוהיך את כל העלות האלה על אויביך ועל שונאיך אשר רדפוך, ואתה תשוב ושמעת בקול אדוני ועשית את כל מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום והותירך אדוני אלוהיך בכל מעשה ידיך בפרי בטנך ובפרי בהמתך ובפרי אדמתך לטובה כי ישוב אדוני לסוס עליך לטוב, כאשר שש על אבותיך, כי תשמע בקול אדוני אלוהיך, לשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו הכתובה בספר התורה הזה, כי תשוב אל אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. I see there were a few other names added for Misheberach. Rick, Lou, and Judith, you added Tess, Marina, and Yeshua, Ben, Diane, and Grace, Tom, Mike, Alan, Lisa, Roman, Joan, and Norman. If I missed any names, there were many. Know that we hold them in our hearts too, praying for their health during this time. Again, please say Shabbat Shalom on the chat. We'd love to say Shabbat Shalom back to you. For the 7th Aliyah, our cancer will say the blessing in honor of all of our teachers. If you read in the news, there's actually a teacher that contracted COVID in the South who, teaching her kids, and it's not easy being a teacher right now. As hard as it is being a doctor and a nurse in a hospital, teachers in classrooms and teachers who are teaching virtually are all challenged in those ways too. And so seeing my son on first grade and all the hard work his teachers are putting into giving him a meaningful year, and all those teachers who are actually showing up in schools with masks, with gloves and scrubs even, thank you. This Aliyah is for you. Our 7th Aliyah, page 1170.
Baruchu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nahatan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נפלאת היא ממך ולא רחוקה היא, לא בשמיים היא, לאמור מי יעלה לנו השמיימה ויקחיה לנו וישמיענו אותה ונעשנה, ולא מעבר לים היא, לאמור מי יעבור לנו אל עבר הים ויקחיה לנו וישמיענו אותה ונעשנה, כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד בפיך ובלבך לעשותו.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. We rise for the Chatzi Kaddish, page 174.
Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amelich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman kari ve'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam le'alme almayam yitbarach yitbarach ve'yishtabach vitbar vitromam ve'yitraseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalal shemei nekudesham v'richu מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, חוש בחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ואימרו Amen.
And Shabbat Shalom to Sharon Jenks joining us in the chat. And John, I see you also added Misheberach from Margalit Bat Ruth, Ratova, Nathan Tomlin, Cindy Levinson, and Parker Bielenberg, Refuah Shlema. Our Maftir Aliyah this morning will also be read by Sharona Rahmani, and we'll invite Joel Weinstein to come on for the Aliyah. Joel, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Okay, so Shabbat Shalom. How are you?
Fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, our Maftir Aliyah, page 1170, chapter 30, verse 11.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai mevarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi metzavecha hayom lo nifleti mimecha velo rechoka hi lo bashamayim hi lemor mi'alelanu hashamayim avikacheha lanu ve'yashmi'enu ota ve'na'asena Belo mever layam hi lemor mi'avor lanu el ever hayam v'kacheha lanu ve'yashmi'enu ota ve'na'asena ki karov elecha hadavar me'od beficha u'bilvavecha Lasoto.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Please rise for Vazot HaTorah, page 174.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
You may be seated. Our Haftorah today can be found in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, on page 1180 in your Eitz Chaim Chumash, and our Haftorah will be read by Joel Weinstein. I was going to say the page one more time, 1180. Okay, take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisroel amaho u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Sos asiv b'Adonai tagel nafshi belohai ki hilbishani bigdei yesha me'ir tzedakah ya'atani kechatan yechahen pe'er v'chakala tadecheleha ki kash eretz totzi tzimcha uchgana zerueha tatzmiya kain Adonai Elohim yatzmiach tzedakah utilaha neged kol hagoyim lema'an Sion lo yecheseh Uma'an Yerushalayim Velo Eshkod Ad Yetze Kanoga Tzidka Vishuata Kalapid Yivar Vara'u Goyim Tzidkeh V'chol Malachim Kevodech V'koralach Shem Chadash Asher Piadonai Yikavenu V'hayit Ateret Tiferet Biyad Adonai Utsnif Melucha B'chaf Elohayich V'lo Ye'amer Lachot Azuvah Ofartstech Lo Ye'amer Od Shemama Ki Lach Hikare Chefsiva Ul Artsech Be'ulam Ki Chafetz Adonai Bach the Artsech Tibael Ki Yiv'al Bachur Betulah Yiv'aluch Banayich Usos Chatan Al Kalah Yasis Alayach Elohayich Al Chomotayich Yerushalayim Hifkadati Shomrim Kol Hayom V'Kol Halayla Tamid Lo Yecheshu Hamaskiri Et Adonai Al Dami Lachem V'al Titnu Dami Lo Ad Yechonein Al Yasim Et Yerushalayim Tihila Ba'aretz Nishba Adonai Biminu Ivzrua Uzo Imetein Et Diganeich Od Malacha Lo Oivayich V'im Lo Yishtu V'nei Nechar Tirosh Sheikh Asher Yagata Bo Kimaspav Yochluhu Biluhu et Adonai Kabsav Yishtuhu Bechatzrot Kadshi Ivru Basharim Panu Derech Ha'am Solu Chamasila Saklu mi Evan Harimu Nes al Ha'amim Hine Adonai Hishmiya al Katsei Haaretz Imru Levad Sion Hine Yishech Ba Hine Shecharo Ito Ufalato Lefanav V'karu Lahem Am HaKodesh Geulei Adonai V'lach Yikarei Drusha Irlo Ne'ezava Mizeh Ba Me'adom Chamutz Begadim Mi Batzra Zehadur Biovusho So Eberov Kocho Ani Medaber Bitstaka Rav Lahoshia Madua Adom Lilvushecha Uvgadecha Kedorech Begat Pura Drakti Levadi Umeamim Ein Ish Iti the air Erd Rechem Be'api V'er Maseim Bachamati V'yez Nitzchak Al Begadai V'chol Mabushai Egalti Ki Yom Nakam Bilibi Ushnat Kulai Ba'a V'abit V'ein Ozer V'yesh Tomein V'ein Somech V'toshali Zroi V'hamati Hi Semachatni V'avus Amim Ba'pi V'ashar Keim Rachamativ yorid la'aretz nitzcham. Chasdei Adonai azkir to Lord Adonai ke'al kol asher gamalanu Adonai v'rav tu leveit Yisrael asher gamalam krachamav uchrov chasadav vayomer achami hema Banim lo yashak keru vayihi lahem lemoshiach bechol tzaratam v'lo tsar umalach panav hoshia bihavto uchemlato hu ge'alam vayenat lame vayenas aim kol yemei Olam Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sur kol amim Tzadik b'chol hadorot Ha'el ha'neman ha'omer v'yoseh Hamdaber kayem Shechol devarav emet b'tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha v'davar echad midvarecha achor lo yashuv reikam ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol devarav Rachem al Tzion ki beit chayenu v'aluvat nefesh toshia b'mirav yameinu baruch atah Adonai v'samei Tzion b'vaneha Samchenu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha u'malchit beit David meshichecha b'meira yavo v'yagel libenu Al kisolo yeshev zar v'lo yinchalu od acherim et kavodo ki v'shem katshecha nishbatalo shelo yichben iro li'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai Magen David Al HaTorah v'al avodah v'al avim v'al yom HaShabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tami li'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Yasher Koach Joel on a beautiful Haftorah this morning. And we'll invite you to stick around for the Dor Vador if you'd like at the Musaf Service. We'll continue with a prayer for our country, but before that, I want to offer a prayer for our congregation written by our own Sharona Rahmani. She said, God bless Sinai Temple and all the staff and clergy. May we always have each other and have this community to pray, grow, and share life with. Amen. And a prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy, accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges and officers and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of your public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. A prayer for the state of Israel, page 178.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael v'kolo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Sur Yisrael v'kolo.
Avinu Sheba Shamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel, the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael Megolo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael Megolo.
Yehalelu, page 183.
Yehalelu et Shema Adonai, ki nizkar b'shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo. Tehila lechol chasidav, libnei Yisrael, am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Uvnucho yomar, ki lekach tov natati lachem, Torati al tazovu. Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba, v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam b'chol netivoteha. Shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh yameinu kekenem.
In a moment, we'll continue with our Musaf service, beginning on page 184 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Please rise.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi. Yalmad yivra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'mechon v'chayrecho beit Yisrael v'agalav izman kari v'himeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbi mevarach le'alam le'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitroma mitrase v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shemei rekulcha. Richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechmata damirami alma v'himeru. Amen.
We begin the Musaf Amidah together on page 185.
Baruch atah Adonai דברים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ומבין אוהל לבני בניהם למען שמו מאהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע מגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה הגיבור לעולם אדוני בחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו משעיני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה אליו מלך מימית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Page 187.
בדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, 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 הללויה.
We continue in our own through page 192. If you've not yet completed your Amidah, please continue to do so at your own pace. Our service continues with Kaddish Shalem on page 203.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובמכון ובחייך ובית ישראל ועגלה בזמן קרי והימרו אמן יהי שמי הרבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותלש מרקודשם ריחוני מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם ימה והימרו אמן תתקבע צלותו נברכון כל ישראל קודם אבונו וישמע והימרו אמן יש למה רב מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Some of you may remember the story of one of the first gorillas who was taught to use crayon and paper and could draw, and the first thing that the scientists saw that he drew was the bars of his own cage. And there is a pathos and a sadness to that story, but it also suggests that there is something deep in all of our minds that responds to captivity in a way that is not only about the actual limitations, but the psychological impact of knowing there is a world out there and being unable to participate in it. You know where I'm going. We have been in a very gilded captivity in lockdown. That is, this is not exactly a cage. As you can see, there is plenty to read. And this is my office. And I get to go from my office across the street to my house and elsewhere. And of course, the bonds are somewhat loosening. But as we approach the end of the Torah, which is about, in its origins, captivity and freedom and what it means to be free and what it means to be a slave, and is there a certain kind of confinement even in the desert, because although you can move wherever you want, there wasn't a lot to do. I started to think about the lessons of the lockdown, as we all have, and ways in which to summarize it before we approach the new year. And I want to offer you just a few general conclusions, not that they are new or innovative or that we haven't thought about them before, but nonetheless, I think that they are worth keeping in mind as we go forward and, God willing, see our restrictions lift in the year ahead. The first is that over the past 6 months, I think that we have to have a tremendous sense of the capacity of human beings for creation and invention and sheer intellectual and imaginative labor. What we're doing right now is a perfect example. A year ago, our services were not beamed everywhere in the world. And Zoom, which is now ubiquitous, was unknown to almost all of us, maybe to all of us. And yet, as soon as this happened, people began to apply their tremendous capacity to solve problems. And that is a real tribute to the human spirit. Meetings happen now all over the world. We are constantly thinking and planning in ways that we did not before. And that is worth keeping in mind, even as we lament the fact that there are so many societal problems that we haven't yet solved. is that human beings have a truly remarkable ability to take the blessings that God has given us and to use them to do good, as well as sometimes to cause problems. And that leads me to the second thing that I have been struck by, which is how much we live by stories. If you think about it, when people say, oh, I'm watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever it is, Hulu or any of them every day, what they're basically saying is I'm involved in this story. Every book you read in some way or another tells a story. Every painting you look at, every person you talk to. The great stories are the stories by which we live. The Torah is our master narrative for our life, for discovery, for captivity and liberation, for the promise of the future. And even as we get involved in story after story, so much so that sometimes I know that I've forgotten that I watched something or read something, and at a certain point I think I know it's about to happen. I must have seen this before. Even as we forget stories, we still live by them. They are still the way in which we process the experience of life. And there is something about lockdown that has reminded me very powerfully that that is true. There's a third thing I'd like to say, which is kind of hopeful. And that is that this is the first time in human history that everyone has gone through the same thing and everyone knows it. I mean, there might have been worldwide pandemics before, but not everybody knew that everyone was going through a worldwide pandemic. There wasn't, after all, the internet and all the different modes of communication that we have now that lets us all know, except perhaps for the most remote and disconnected tribes in the world, everybody knows what everyone's going through. That was never true before. Villages were always disconnected from the larger world. No longer. And I hope that maybe this sense that all human beings are deeply interconnected will bring us to a different sense of one another. There may be some hopeful signs that that is happening. Even as there are clashes between nations, there is also some amity. Look, if you had said a few years ago that the UAE and Bahrain would have diplomatic and commercial relations with Israel, we would have said, nah, won't happen with Arab nations. And yet it has happened, which is a tribute not only to the diplomacy and the efforts of the American government and the Israeli government, but also, I hope, in addition to those efforts, laudable and praiseworthy though they certainly are, I hope maybe at least a little piece of it is everyone's recognition that we are in the same boat, guys. That the virus doesn't care if you're Jewish or you're Muslim or you're Christian or you're Hindu. It doesn't care. That the forces of nature operate equally on all of us. And therefore, maybe, there might out of this, in time, come some kind of nudge to greater closeness, as has happened from other catastrophes in human history in the past. And wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? One last lesson. In addition to the sense of ingenuity and universality and narrative story, I have been impressed by how much the lockdown has spurred our memories. Not just that we have reached back in history over and over and over again for parallels to what has happened, but also personal memories. That people have had time and space to remember those whom they've lost, to think about their own lives, to look back as well as look forward. And as you know, in the Jewish tradition, zikaron, memory, the looking backwards is fundamental to who we are. We are coming into the high holiday season, so we don't only look forward, we look back. Right now, we don't only remember those whom we have lost in our own lives, but also we remember those who are suffering and whom we have lost in our world. Yesterday was 9/11. We remember those who died in that tragic act of terror, and those who are facing terrible suffering and loss in the fires right next door to us. Memory is pain as well as sweetness, but maybe together with memory, with story, with universality, and with our own powers of creativity and imagination, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, we can build a world of kindness and of goodness. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Thank you, Cantor Feldman, for that beautiful rendition of Olam Chesed Yibaneh. I also want to tell you all before we continue with Ein Kelohenu, those of you we had the chance to see as we dropped off high holiday packages, how wonderful and joyous it was, and seeing people's faces is part of Olam Chesed Yibaneh, part of the world, God willing, we will build together. Page 204, Ein Kelohenu.
Lai 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 yada lai 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 lai. Ein Kelohenu, ein Adonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein כמושיענו, מי אלוהינו, מי אדוננו, מי מלכנו, מי כמושיענו. Yai lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai. Yai lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai. Nodel Eloheinu, nodel Adonenu, nodel Malkeinu, nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Yai lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai. Yai lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Yai lai lai yada lai 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 yada lai 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 yada lai lai.
Aleinu, page 205.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומונים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגוני מרומים. הוא אלוהינו, אין עוד אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, הכתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותם אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Ribono Shel Olam, dear God, with love, we remember those who no longer walk this earth. We are grateful to you for the gift of their lives, for the joys we've shared, and for the cherished memories that do not fade. This week, we recall all of those who perished in the attack at 9/11, and we remember the yortzites of Solomon Achdut, Harry Angel, Tova Bar Kohane, Nicole Belson, Julian Bamesh, Jesse Brenner, Jacob Cohn, Edwin Davidoff, Flora Davud, Clara Feld, Bertha Fish, Samuel Frank, Samuel Genser, Jerome Giss, Aaron Glazer, Rose Glickman, Jeanette Gluckstein, Harry Goldberg, David Grenner, Samuel Halegua, Blanche Hasterlick, Miriam Hattis, Daniel Hersher, Celia Horwich, Aaron Hyman, Stephanie King Chapman, Katie Klein, Shirley Cohn, Helen Kornbluth, Bessie Kushner, Richard Lopez, Figa Magaluski, Musa Masachi, Alice Miller, Abraham Nasir, Zacharia Nazarian, Nurola Naharai, Ted Orden, Philip Pell, Herman Perlmutter, Toria Rauf, Joseph Robin Shenas, Seymour Reich, Etta Rickles, Dorothy Rosen, Salom Sadat, Erwin Solko, Elliot Schreiner, Alex Schreiber, Farang Shaheri, Phyllis Shapiro, Samuel Shapiro, George Schechter, Frida Schindel, Harry Siderman, Mahin Sinai, Peter Yishu Tseng, Louis Wagner, Fern Wallace, Lily Wilzig, Davud Yebri, David Yedizion, Shoshana Yusian, Beatrice Zeinitz, Ducia Zembi, and Mildred Zemlis. May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort as we ask those in mourning and those observing a yortzeit to please rise to sanctify God's name with the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba mevarach leolam u'olmei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha v'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May God grant comfort and healing to the hearts of all who mourn. Let us all say Amen. I have two announcements for you this morning. One is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I hope that you will join us for a Torah for Times of Stress and Change webinar with Professor David Galinkin, who is a major scholar from Israel, extraordinarily learned, and also very clear and wonderful to listen to. You can find the webinar on the Sinai Temple website, and you can register there. It's from the Schechter Institute, and I know that you will benefit from listening to Rabbi Galinkin. That is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And once 10 o'clock Pacific time, that is the time in Los Angeles. For those of you who are watching from elsewhere, you will have to do your own calculations. Also, from far and near, in this last week before Rosh Hashanah, we welcome you to join us here at Sinai Temple. There is still time to send in your membership, to bring by your membership, to contact our office. We hope that you will join us. If you do not join us, I hope that you will join a synagogue wherever you are and support Jewish life, Jewish continuity, Jewish learning, Jewish teaching at this extremely trying time for everybody when we are doing our best to keep the light of Torah alive in all of our lives. So please help us, join us, and have a wonderful and healthy and, God willing, free new year. Are we ready to conclude, everyone? Ariel Cohen, Cantor Feldman.
A couple of musical announcements.
Yes, please.
This evening is Slichot, believe it or not, the start of our high holiday.
I'm so glad you reminded us. Yes, Cantor.
Rabbi Rotenberg is doing an introductory talk about Slichot. Is that correct, Rabbi?
Actually, it's 6:30 p.m. You can join me. We're going to do some learning. The Zoom link is on the Sinai Temple website. We're going to do pre-Slichot learning about judgment, judging yourself, judging others, what makes a good judge in the season of judgment. So you can join me at 6:30, and then Cantor Feldman.
Yes, and then at 8:30 p.m., Ariel and I were just talking about this. Ariel has been leading Slichot services here in this room for 45 years, and this is going to be the first year where we are not live in this room for Slichot, but we hope that you will join us at 8:30 p.m. You can find the link on our website. We are doing a joint Slichot program with Valley Beth Shalom, Stephen Wise Temple, and Wilshire Boulevard Temple. It's going to be a really wonderful musical evening. And then tomorrow,
I want to emphasize, Cantor, that means 4 synagogues are coordinating together to bring you Slichot.
That's a miracle.
So this is a beautiful example of the kind of universality I was talking about earlier. The Jewish community is coming together to bring you a beautiful Slichot service in which all the rabbis, all the cantors will all be taking part. So I hope that you will join us. Back to Cantor Feldman.
And one other announcement, tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. we're also joining with a lot of Jewish musical professionals and cantors from Los Angeles to do an evening of music, a panel to discuss music of the high holidays, and that information is also available on our Sinai Temple website. So a lot of learning and musical opportunities for everyone who's joining us.
Adon Olam.
Sher Malach.
Adon Olam.
Ay la la la, 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 ay la la, ay la 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 la. Adon Olam asher malach בטרם כל יציא נברא, לעת נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, לעת נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבנו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה. יאי לה לה לה, 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 יאי לה לה, יאי לה לה לה. והוא אחד ויין שני, להמשילו, להכבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ללא העוז והמשרה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא איני בחי גואלי, בצור חבלי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו ארכיד רוחי, ביתי שונה ועירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני עלי ולא הירא. יאי לה לה לה, 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 yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Ribono Shel Olam, dear God, on this Shabbat before the new year, we pray that you grant us a certain degree of hope that we can, not only with your help, but by our own efforts, work our way out of the difficulties, not only that have been presented to us by the world, but sometimes presented to us by our own mistakes and folly and short-sightedness and sin. Help us believe in ourselves. Help us believe in you. Adonai Ozli Amo Yitain, Adonai Yevarech et Amo Shalom. May you give us strength, God, and help us make peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye, everybody. Shabbat.